Okay. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Today, we're very pleased at the Eritrean Canadian Cultural Center to have a guest. This guest, I wanted to make a surprise and keep that video off, but I can't. So we're going to talk to one of the young, I would say, motivators, one of the young generation that we expect that with the help of other youth, they'll be able to make a change in our community. There's some technical issue, I think, is gone off.
No, I'm here, brother.
Are you still here? Okay, sorry. Okay, because if your video just gone off. Okay. Let me just admit you again. It's gone off my screen. There we are. That's better. So you are here. Okay. So, as I was saying, you can hear me okay, brother? Yes?
Yes.
Clear? Excellent. Okay. That's good. I'm just making sure that there's no echo, there's nothing. That's why I'm trying to make sure all work. Okay. So as I was saying, today you are all our listeners, our respected listeners, you are all you are about to witness, I would say, a groundbreaking approach to tackling one of the most pressing challenges in our Eritrean community. I would say that pressing challenge is working together as one unit. So what we're trying to do today, we're going to talk about how to tackle that issue. And nothing better than having a guest who's the president of Canadian Eritrean Youth Development. He's a business analyst. I'm going to take a lot of your answers, Marwan. So I just have to. So he's, I would quote him, not afraid to step out of his comfort zone. Yeah. I'll leave the rest for Brother Marwan AliBakhiet, President of the Canadian Eritrean Youth Development. Marwan, if you can introduce yourself.
Absolutely. Brother Nabrai, Jazakallah khair. Thank you so much for inviting me to join you today. As I mentioned to you off camera, very, very proud of the work that ECCC is doing to provide knowledge to our community and overall to bring everyone together. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Marwan AliBakhiet. In my personal life, I am a business analyst working with the federal government. But of course, one of the big things that I like to do is volunteer in the community, supporting our brothers and sisters. And much like you, Brother Nabrai, I like to see our community together as one. And this has been a big interest to me, I think, my entire life. Throughout my teenage years, always coming to the Eritrean haflas and Eid parties and, making sure I don't miss any of the community events when they did happen. I think I've grown up having a lot of friends who are Eritreans. We all grew up together, but our community also faces many challenges, some of those that you've mentioned earlier. So now as an adult in the Eritrean community, I seek to add value to the community. So I work together with some amazing brothers and sisters at CEYD, that is the Canadian Eritrean Youth Development. This is an organization that was just established 3 years ago now, during the pandemic. And since then, we really have two major focuses, which is the Eritreans in Canada but we also have many projects and initiatives that serve Eritreans outside of Canada. We know that there are many people who are struggling and suffering in countries outside of Canada. And as Eritreans here in the West, with the opportunities that we have, with the ability to pool our resources and come together, I think we can do a lot to help our brothers and sisters overseas. And that in itself is a great initiative for the Eritrean Canadian youth to get involved in. So some of those programs for the people outside of Canada include the orphan sponsorship program. We have Eid al-Udhiya campaigns where we collect funds to support people who are in poverty. The orphan sponsorship program is when there are children orphans who are right now in Sudanese refugee camps who have no parents and are really just being supported at these refugee camps with very little resources. So we have our orphan sponsorship program right now. We have about 200 orphan children who are being sponsored and cared for every month. And what that means is people in Canada and people across the world, really Eritreans, are donating to CEYD to support these orphans, keep them well fed, to have their educational resources as well as their clothing, and to be safe. Some other programs include Zakat al-Mal, and also a big program that we've done was supporting the Kasala School for Refugees, where a lot of Eritrean refugees are actually currently residing and are being taught in these schools. There was a big threat of these schools being shut down. There are 4 of them in particular that were previously funded by the United Nations as well as the Catholic Church, but that funding has stopped. And without funding, the schools certainly would have closed. And I'd be glad to share more about that program with you. But when it comes to the Eritrean youth in Canada, what we do is we try to provide them access to resources that help them to succeed. So biggest thing is education and knowledge. This is something ECCC actually is an expert in, and I think I really respect the work you guys have done to teach people Arabic and the Quran and to promote education as a whole. But with CEYD, we have been holding, even throughout the pandemic when we could not do things in person, we were holding virtual seminars where we would teach people, for example, careers in healthcare, careers in tech, careers in finance. So we would have a virtual seminar where we invited other Eritrean professionals, doctors, pharmacists, lawyers, engineers, IT specialists, accountants, and they would actually present to the community about what they've done and how they got there. In addition, we are developing now a mentorship program that inshallah we hope to work with ECCC as well to develop because of your expertise in education. And the goal of the mentorship program is to connect the Eritrean youth to professionals in those specific fields that they want to pursue. So for example, if you're a young Eritrean person who would like to become a doctor, we would match you up with a doctor where you can talk to them, discuss ideas, and plan for how you can follow that path. So these are kind of the 2 areas that CEYD is looking to support in. We want to support our Canadian Eritreans to access education and to educate themselves to reach success. But we also know that there are many Eritreans overseas who are in poverty, so we do what we can to support them in their struggles as well.
Jazakallah, that was very informative. Thank you very much. I mean, I can see many ways of working together in future, 100%. The common target, I can tell, is just to try and empower the community, all level, youth in particular, in all aspects. It's as we always say at ECCC, it's a character building, right? When you build, it's a character building. It's different areas to the same person. It's not only education, it's not awareness, it's not mental health, it's not a career, it's all together that makes that youth part of the community. Very good. Okay, so I've got, as I said, when I asked you before, you said you like to just talk without questions, but I've got a list of questions, as I told you, I have to go through. Otherwise, the ones that prepare the questions for me won't be happy. Right. So, the motivation, Marwan. What is the biggest motivator for all that you do? In other words, what keeps you motivations lit? What keeps you
Yeah.
going? Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's very simple. I truly believe that the people in the Eritrean community are my brothers and sisters. There's nobody, I mean, I'm born and raised in Canada, here, right here in Toronto. Never moved, never went anywhere else. Um, my friends are people of different faiths and different cultures and ethnicities. These are people who I respect tremendously and love very much. But there is nothing like the feeling of being surrounded by Eritrean people, my Eritrean Muslim brothers and sisters, when I go to the Eid haflas, when I have a dinner, a Ramadan iftar, for example, when I go to the masjid, when I'm at an Azah. When you're at these events and when you're surrounded by your own people, it's always a reminder of like, this is home. This is the group of people who, when everything else fails, I can fall back on my people. There's nobody else that will help us like our own people. And in addition to that motivation, I think just growing up and really having parents, my parents, I have to give them credit. They kept me involved. They brought me to these different events. They didn't keep me at home. They didn't, uh, you know, they didn't really give me a choice. Sometimes it was like, all right, we're going to the Eid party, dress up and let's go. Even the days when as a kid, you tried to give your parents a challenge, but they always keep you on the straight path. And I'm very grateful for that because since I was able to build these relationships since I was a young child, for example, ECIA, they ran an Eritrean Quran, and I always remember this. I must have been 8, 9, 10 years old at the time. And this Quran class that was running every Sunday, it was truly uh, across all tribes in Eritrea. Everyone was in that Quran. We had the Blaine, the Tigre, the Jabarti, all the kids together, the teachers, the principal. It was all the Eritreans together. This is when I think our community was really at its strongest. When everybody came to Canada in the early 90s. But things changed. And unfortunately, I would say that it wasn't really through the fault of any of the children. We were all friends with each other. We all built these relationships. Over time, we started to see that, I didn't see my friends at the Eritrean iftars or at the Eid party. And I was wondering, where is this person? Where is this person? Not knowing that at that time, people started to divide. Parents started to take their children out of this place and bringing them to this Eid party instead. And I never realized it. But we were truly all friends even when we were children. And until this day, when I see some of my friends from that Eritrean Quran, we are still the best of friends. We always remember that, oh, remember when we used to go to class on Sunday and the trouble we used to cause and the stuff that we used to learn in Quran. And I think that is what really has kept me motivated. Like I said, because I truly have love for these people. And I know that they have love for me as well. And there's nothing like feeling love. And when you feel that love, you feel like you need to give back, like you need to support and help that community. So this is something that keeps me going.
Excellent. Alhamdulillah. May that continue, inshallah. I mean, that goal is a continuous motivator. It doesn't end. You always want it to be better. I mean, you get people to be together. Next, you want to get more people to be together, and the next is as you go. So that is, inshallah, will be continuous motivation.
Inshallah.
Okay, so the CEYD now has been integral in exposing the younger generation to careers and educational path, as you were explaining earlier on to us within Canada.
Mm-hmm.
What has been the most profound outcome of these endeavor and of these activities? What would you say was the most profound outcome?
Yeah, absolutely. So, as I mentioned before, we would have these career seminars. So, we had careers in healthcare and careers in law and careers in finance, where we would bring these actual Eritrean Muslims in our community. And these are people who I personally know. So, I would just email them, hey, you want to speak at our event coming up, you know? And we would bring these professionals and put them right in front of the youth, people who are in high school, who are in college, people who are the age to go into college or university but haven't yet decided to go. And you know, having these professionals come and speak to them about their experience, what program they took, explaining the journey and some of the challenges that they faced. And I think most importantly, being a face that represents us. You know, sometimes you can't envision yourself being a doctor, but when you see another Eritrean who has become a doctor, you say, wow, this is something that's possible. And when you hear that this person was born in the same circumstances as you, had the same opportunities that you did, it gives you motivation to pursue that. So I find that a lot of the youth have been directly motivated by the professionals who come to speak. A perfect example of this actually is at our most previous graduation event. We called it a graduation and career event that we held in Thorncliffe, Toronto, Ontario. And we had 5 different professionals speaking. One of them was a business owner, one of them was a pharmacist, one was a teacher, another was someone in public relations. So it was a variety of people in different professions. And what made me so happy was at the end of the event, seeing all of the youth, majority of them females, mashallah. A lot of them are graduating and pursuing education. Our sisters are doing very, very well. Inshallah, our brothers can catch up.
A long way, but they will try.
I think so. I believe so. I believe so. And what made me so happy was after the event, seeing people actually line up to speak to these professionals. And they would wait. Some people waited 10, some people waited 20 minutes just to speak to these people and say, and I overheard some of the conversations. One young sister approached our sister who was working in public relations and said, this is a career I've thought about. I didn't really know too much about it and like what you actually do in your work, but seeing you, it really makes it feel to me that this is possible, that this is something I can pursue. And I overheard this conversation to see how inspired this young girl was. And this is not the only conversation I've had. Multiple conversations after every single career seminar, career event, where people are now connecting, becoming friends. They're asking questions of these professionals. And I'll just give you one more example about why this is so important. And the impact that it's having on our youth. So we have a teacher, her name is Sarah Ibrahim. She joined us as a guest at our most previous event. And she is someone who keeps in contact with me and actually shares with me when there is some kind of an opportunity or something like educational opportunity or professional opportunity. She will share it with me in WhatsApp and say, hey, Marwan, I heard about this this program for Black Muslim youth, for example. Share this with the community. She messaged me one day and shared with me a link to a program. It's called Coding Boot Camp for Black Boys. So this was a boot camp throughout the summer, a training program to teach Black youth how to code, you know, with the computers. I shared this message out to the community, put it on the CEYD Instagram page and shared it on WhatsApp. One of our brothers, our volunteers actually, who's right now one of our superstar volunteers. He is, mashallah, incredibly involved, super motivated. He's been our greatest asset one of our greatest assets to CEYD. He joined that boot camp after we shared it. He just 2 weeks ago on LinkedIn, I saw he updated his profile and he is now working as an IT professional with a major bank. He completed this boot camp after we had shared it, after Sarah Ibrahim shared it with us. He completed his program, he got his certification, He got to work in an internship. From the internship, he is now a IT professional. And inshallah, God willing, he has a lot of success coming his way. This is a perfect example of what the community should be doing. We find out information, we have knowledge and information to share. We share it with each other. We communicate and we encourage each other to pursue education. Now, this one boy, his whole life is changed because we had one of our people send me a link to this program. So very, very important to see the outcome of that. And inshallah, many more stories just like this, where people have been inspired from these events or from CEYD, and they go to pursue something and give back to their community.
Inshallah, inshallah. These are happy stories to hear, and something that will keep people or give people the idea what this all about, this working as volunteer, working for the community. What is it about? Just seeing the change. People would think that you have to change the life of, I don't know, 100 people in a month, 100 young. No, it's just one little thing that you change into one person. It's just like a tree, no? One person, like this gentleman you mentioned, change his career, right? That person, it might cause someone else to change or give someone else an idea. And that's how we work. It's a slow progress. And we always say that in our work as well. We don't expect results just to happen like that. It's time. It just, as long as you keep on exposing people, young people, to these opportunities and chances they have. This is the important part, which is what you're doing at the moment. Barakallahu feekum. Okay, so now, from your experience, Marwan, we're looking at, are there any gaps or areas of need within our community that you think are crucial for people to be aware of? Any areas where maybe people, other organizations or even individuals can help, fill these gaps? What do you think from experience?
As someone now who is very, very involved in the community, and I get to communicate and work with organizations such as yourself, I've gotten to meet a lot of the different Eritrean organizations, and one thing I can say is there are many different experts in different areas, and alhamdulillah, this is something we should all be very proud about. Your organization, I would say you guys, your expertise is in education. This is something that you guys you pride yourselves on, and I know you yourself, you're an educator. So this is something that's your passion. We have organizations like Dalil, for example, who is the spiritual center. This is the experts in religion and da'wah. We have CEYD, who is kind of an expert in bringing people together and serving the youth. We have Al-Hibba, and we have the Jabarti Association. We have many different organizations who I think are experts in their own different areas. You asked me about a gap in the community. I think we have so much expertise to share, but the gap, I would say, is the cohesion, is working together and not competing with each other, working together, recognizing what our strengths are. And depending on what our strengths are, we can all focus in on those areas. And overall, together, we can help the community spiritually, educationally, financially. The new six soccer, we can help our community athletically and physically. So if there is one gap, I would say it's the fact that we are not really cohesive yet, and we don't work together as one unit. And I think that we're taking some very meaningful steps in that direction with conversations like this and the conversations that we are having behind the scenes on collaborating and working together. This is actually another one of CEYD's big missions. Maybe not even CEYD. This is one of my big missions, is bringing everyone back together to the table. Because I think Eritreans do have a lot of skills, a lot of experience and expertise to offer. So there's not so much a gap there, but it's how can we come now to the table and make sure that these resources are helping every Eritrean and not just one group or one group who's living in Mississauga or one tribe. We have to make sure that all of these organizations are serving every Eritrean. If that can be done, I think that is the biggest gap we can fill that will bring our community forward. Truly.
Very good. Okay. Thank you. That was hence the start of our meeting when I mentioned that we're going to talk or witness an approach to tackling one of the most pressing challenges. And he mentioned it now, which is working together as one unit. Right. This is an important thing. And he mentioned working behind the scene. Alhamdulillah, there is a lot of work. I will call it work in progress, but it's always a first step. As they say, nothing, everything at the beginning is a dream, right? It starts as a dream, whatever it is, and then it will change into reality. Just the work is required to move it from that stage to the other. Okay, I was reading. In fact, there's a message, Marwan, saying good old days about the school, Sunday school. There's a message on YouTube saying it's one of the students. So it's not only you that, I mean, everyone is sharing that sentiment with you. And that's what it means. This is years ago. And that's the lasting effect that you leave in the youth. No, it will. You might not see the results straight away, but you see, I see it in my work. You know, you work with a student for 3, 4, 5 years, 6 years, you give up, right? You go to grade 12 and you say, okay, I've done everything I can. And 4, 5 years down the road, you meet this young man telling you, oh, thank you for, and that's what happens. So it does, I mean, as they say, the penny will drop at some point, definitely. So as I said, Albert Einstein once said that we cannot solve our problems with the same thinking we used when we created them, right? So what do you think? How can we help? How can we, I mean, he touched on that topic in the last answer, I know. How can you solve that part of working together? Practically, not theoretically, because I think we've had enough, all of us as a community, listening to the theories, right? This can be done, this can be done, a lesson, a lecture, a workshop, all can be done, no? That's easy. The part is, how can we put it in reality? How can we make it practical? What do you think?
And I think that's something even, you know, we're seeing in the news now with what's happening around the world is people, they talk, but what is the solution? What can actually be done to solve the problem? Making speeches and talking about it forever has not changed anything, but I do think it is important. I think it's important that people have talked about this. But to answer your question, I would say we need something to rally around as a community. So I think when we have these discussions and we say, yes, we need to come together and don't worry about the division between the tribes, you know, that the conversation always starts like that. We all agree like that. But as soon as one person's idea comes, now it's, oh no, but you guys started it, and oh no, but you did. It just goes back to the same conversation. I think we have to think about this like a school project, like a group project. You know, for anyone who's on the line right now, maybe in school, you've worked on a group project. You know, when the teacher says, you don't get to choose your group, I will choose the group for you. You don't always get to work with your friend. You don't always get to work with your best friend, the person who you make jokes with. You now have to work with people who maybe you have different ideas or beliefs than. But if you guys are just focused on, oh, we need to fix our relationship, the relationship will never be fixed. What the best thing you can do is to work on that project together, to work towards completing that project. Because I promise by the end of that project, if you can successfully do the presentation, if you can successfully submit your group project, this is something, it's now a journey that you have been on together. And when you're on a journey with somebody, when you go through challenges and obstacles with somebody, subhanallah, he puts it in our heart. We have this connection. We have a natural bond. This is not something in your brain. This is something Allah gives us. It's a bond you feel. Even if you don't like this person, you say, wow, but we went through a lot together, man. You know, we stayed up late night, right? Working on this project. We had late night phone calls. We were drinking coffee together. Even though we were not friends together, we had all the papers and we worked together. Now, that's, of course, the symbol. Realistically, what does that mean? Is, for example, the mentorship program that I mentioned, CEYD, we've been working to establish a mentorship program. We have the structure ready. When it comes to implementing the program, we don't have quite the manpower to implement it yet. This mentorship program is a perfect idea of a project that benefits all Eritreans that we can do together. All of the different Eritrean organizations in some way, some capacity can support that mentorship program. And through the project, through working together on something, we will naturally build that bond, just like two people in a group who don't like each other, but when they finally complete their presentation, there's a bond that cannot be broken because of the experience. So to answer your question quite simply, we need something to rally around. We need a program or a project that we are all involved in. And that is, and if we can all promise that this program is to serve our whole community, I think that is something that will help tremendously. So not so much talking about things, but actually having a project. I think that would be the best way.
That's good to hear. And inshallah, there will be more than one project in the coming days and months, inshallah.
Inshallah.
Now, this, what do you think? How can the listeners now support CEYD's endeavor on any level, for example, and all Eritrean community organizations in general? But let's talk about CEYD. So how can they support? What?
Absolutely. I think our community has faced many challenges and many changes over the years. I think it's something that we have to really take into consideration. When we talk about the Eritrean community, it sounds like one big group who has the same thinking. We are not all one. And that's not a bad thing. I'm not saying that in a bad way. The truth is, we have Eritreans who, like myself, were born and raised in Canada. This is a community who has its own challenges. For example, deviating from Islam. We know about the mental health and depression, gangs, gang violence, the use of drugs. We talk about the westernization of these people's minds and hearts, which has unfortunately brought many people outside of the community. However, as you know, we also have many newcomer Eritreans. MashaAllah, many of them have come from places like Sudan, Saudi Arabia, have settled here in Canada, but they have their own challenges too. They have their challenges in terms of assimilating into the community. Our last graduation event was in Thorncliffe, the area where many of these Eritrean Muslims are living who have come from Saudi Arabia. This was my first time seeing so many of them. A lot of these people were new faces. They even told us, we did not know who you are. We've never heard of CEYD. We came because our mom or our aunt told us about it. So it's as if these two communities, even though we're Eritrean Muslim, there is no connection as of yet. There is no connection between the Eritrean Canadians and the Eritreans from Saudi and Sudan, and through no fault of anybody's own. But I think that needs to be done. There needs to be a bringing together of the people, because that will help the people who are newcomers. And I think it will also provide a lot of perspective to the people who have gone astray, the Canadians, and remind them of who we really are. So you know, another thing that I've noticed is As we continue to work ECCC, Dalil, New Six, CEYD, we're getting a lot of youth who are actually really interested in the work that we're doing. So very slowly but surely, we've gotten more volunteers. CEYD, we were actually able to hire some summer workers this summer and last summer. And both summers, the workers ended up becoming longtime volunteers of ours. I would say your organization is also making waves and bringing people into the fold. But we need to unite those two demographics because right now our community is split, not through hate or not through any personal issues, but because these groups have just never communicated with each other and they both face their own challenges. So how can we make sure to address the challenges of the Canadian Eritreans? But how do we also make sure that we're supporting the newcomer Eritreans and making sure that they are settling here and that they get all the information and resources that they need? So back again, it really relies on us and our organizations, CEYD, your organization, Dalil. We need to be the experts who bring our people together. The individuals, how can they meet each other? How can they communicate with each other if they don't even know each other? So I think we can serve now as a way to bring everyone together.
Thank you. That was good. That was good. I mean, that I always said that no matter what, when you're looking at the same cube, one shape, it's a cube. We agree it's a cube, right?
Mm-hmm.
But if I look at it from here and the other one looks at it from the other side, it will do a different description. I mean, it's always good to have a look at the same thing, be it a problem, be it a project, be it an idea, from different perspectives, which will help both. I've got a few questions for you, Marwan, not from me now, okay? I'm just looking at the questions here
Yeah.
from our listeners. So how can we maintain the enthusiasm and continuous giving from the community? Not from you now. My question was about your personal motivation. From the community, how can we keep the community giving? The second part, what is the best way to encourage them that will ensure the continuity of any program?
Mm-hmm.
So now,
So can you ask the first question one more time, please?
sure. How can we maintain that enthusiasm and continuous giving from the community? That's the first one.
Yeah. Well, the truth is, it does seem sometimes like we're asking for a lot. Not CEYD, this is the whole community. And the truth is we do ask for a lot because our community is suffering a lot. Until now, no real sustainable method has been established to support these communities. The onus is on us. Nobody is calling out on the news or in the media or in parliament to support Eritreans, to support Eritrean refugees, people in camps, people who are fleeing war, people who are fleeing atrocities. There is nobody right now that is set up to help these people. It is only on us. So, when you say, how do we encourage people to continue giving? It is a difficult thing, especially in an economic crisis. I just want to say that right now, the Sudanese refugee school, we're donating about $10,000 Canadian every month. This is to pay for the teachers' salaries, as well as the maintenance of the facilities, as well as the school supplies required in this school. In total, we raised about 70,000. The money that we raised last year to keep the school open for the whole year has now run out. We are in a position now where we are going to once again campaign to support these schools. And this person's question, I think, is exactly the question that people are going to ask. If we've donated before, we've tried our best, we've given as much as we can. It's difficult to donate. And we understand this, but as Muslims, we also understand that if nobody is going to help these people, like there are not many options right now. There's not many other options other than to find it in your heart to want to help these people. And we would never force anybody or anything. we actually use the kids themselves. We allow the kids themselves to speak about how these donations are helping them. Brother Amr Jamal has touched on the ground. Brother Muhammad Jimma, a former student of the refugee, has been on the ground. We have the videos and the pictures directly from these kids saying, thank you. Thank you to the people in Canada for keeping our school open, for donating. I got a message just last week from Brother Osama, who is the principal of the Sudanese refugee schools. He sent a very long message to CEYD and to all the Canadians who supported, saying, without your support, this school would have been closed for good. But we want to share with you that the teachers are so grateful, the students are so grateful, and we are incredibly grateful for the work that you Canadians are doing. So how do you stay motivated to continue donating? I wish I could tell you, don't donate, guys. We have a whole truckload of money that we're going to donate to Sudan now, and everything is fine. I wish I could say that. But that's not the situation. The truth is, it is on us in any capacity that you can to support. But to keep you motivated, there's no better motivation than to know that these kids are actually being impacted. To know that this school has been open for almost 2 years longer than it should have been open. That is 2 more years of education for these kids who don't have a home. That is 2 more years of camaraderie and socialization, these kids able to be together. And I just want to finish off with one thing. How can you be motivated to donate? Well, recently we got an update, news, very good news from the refugee camp. One very special girl, brilliant girl, actually was awarded a scholarship to study in Italy in university. And she is the one of actually a few of them who have gotten the scholarship. So through these refugees camps, they are getting the credentials that allows them to go into university. And a lot of them are actually getting scholarships to go. I don't know what else to say to motivate you other than your money has made an impact. Your money is being seen and appreciated. And I just hope that people can remember that and keep that in their hearts.
That's correct. And this is not only limited to this dunya. I mean, the akhirah, even more for the same help that you're giving. Correct.
The most important. Important.
Correct. So, do we have any? That's another question here. Do we have any ongoing research or focus groups identifying the community's interest areas? So, are there any plans to hold some to better cater for the youth current and future needs?
Yeah.
So is there any ongoing?
Yeah. So to answer the first question, I'm very proud of our brothers at ECIA. That's the Eritrean Canadian Islamic Association. This is led by Brother Ahmed Khiyar and Hassan Farij. For those, some of you might be aware, some of you may not be aware, but this is the organization I mentioned earlier, that in the early 90s, they were the premier Eritrean Muslim organization. This was the group who was running all of the hafla, the Eid parties. This is the organization that was running the Ramadan iftars. This is the organization who created and ran the Quran school that was being run on Sundays. So we're talking about an organization that historically was involved in the establishment of Eritreans in Toronto, played a very, very big role. Now they are coming back for a revised purpose, for a new purpose. And ECIA right now is working to bring all of the Eritrean organizations back into the fold, into one table, bringing all of our knowledge and expertise into one place to work together. So this is something right now that is being done. It is in the works. And with regards to the demographics and taking note of people's interests, this is one of the plans for ECIA, is to actually do a census, so a survey of where are the Eritreans living? How many people are in your families? What kind of education or what kind of professions are these people doing? What are some of your interests? So to answer that person's question, this is something that very soon is going to be coming down the line. We've met with ECIA. They actually got to meet with a lot of Eritrean organizations. And this is something that they are planning on doing. I want to somehow help them promote it, but they do have a WhatsApp group chat. No, but I don't know if I don't know if you could drop it in the chat or.
Oh yeah. I will write it down as well. I'll write it down with the details of CEYD and them. Yeah. In fact, we're part of that one.
Yeah, because they're actually currently, and I'm only saying that because this person, their question, it's directly related to that, but they're actually looking to get people's contact information. That way they can send you the census, so they can send you the survey. So for anyone who is interested, of course, in being part of that, we want them to connect to ECIA. So somehow we'll try to make that happen.
Jazakallah khair for that. Okay, so I won't make it longer than because I want it to be a guest again and again and again. So if it's too long, maybe you'll just change your mind next time. So
no. You have me as much as you want.
Jazakallah khair. So any last thoughts or messages you'd like to end off with, you want to share to cap up this beautiful chat that we've been having?
Yeah. Well, before I make a statement, I do want to ask you some questions. So with ECCC, is there a certain demographic that you guys have been serving? Are you guys working with a lot of the newcomers, or are they a lot of the Eritrean Canadians? Who are you guys kind of serving, just to get an idea of that?
Okay, so at ECCC, when we started, our target was Eritrean. We didn't go into detail, to be honest. No newcomers, not in detail. We said we're going to serve Eritreans. Our area mainly was education, but we have the seniors, we have the sport, it's a mix, because we believed even if it's for education, working with youth, one of the ways to attract them to the classes that we do is to add that sport. Our work was sport. Even the place where we are now, if you notice, is a school. They have a gym. So when we were looking to rent a place, we were looking for the gym before the classes, to be honest. They said, we need a place where the kids, we tell them, we have a gym, huh? Oh, okay, I'm going to do my English, I'm going to do my math, it's okay, as long as I have half an hour basketball or soccer. So we try to help the whole community. This is just about finishing first year, we're going to our second year, inshallah. Now we're starting to find that the youth, we opened a new on that community center down in Thorncliffe in Toronto. So the main one is in Ajax, east of Toronto, right? Not to our listeners. So, but now we said, okay, as you said, most of our community, or there's quite a group in one area in Thorncliffe. So now we had our contact with the community center, and we are there every other Sunday for now. Hopefully it will be every Sunday, maybe more even during the week. So we're trying to move there. And now we just had our opening last weekend, trying to get people to tell us what are they, what do they need, what areas can we help with. We offer our classes at the moment, the French, the English, the math, as to help our kids, because we believe that is the Arabic, the Quran, to help them with that, plus other activities. So we are there now. Hopefully in future we'll be able to help every single section of our community, inshallah. And part of that help is to work with other organizations. We believe that working with other organizations, that's help as well. So they will have more expertise in a certain area. So by us working with them, we are doing our part. By other organizations working with us, we'll be able to help with the areas where we think we can help with the most.
Wow. Yeah. Inshallah, yeah, and I believe that you will reach all of your goals because you guys have
Allah,
done such a great
inshallah.
job. Just in 1 year, when Abdul Qadir told me you guys were active for 1 year, I said, "What?
Yeah.
What machine is running this?" Because it is very a well-oiled machine.
Yeah, the group that are working, they all believe in everything that we do. I mean, Alhamdulillah, when you don't need the number to start with. Of course, later on, as you grow, you will need, and people will believe more in what you think you're doing, or they believe in your goals. They will come and join you. But Alhamdulillah,
Absolutely.
we're very lucky to get a group that all hardworking. They believe in what they're doing. Alhamdulillah. I mean, they're
Yeah.
all, they're, as you know, you are busy. Everyone is busy. You know how
Hmm.
it is in living in Canada. But they
Yeah.
do create, as we were talking before the meeting, uh, volunteering, working, charity work. It's nothing to do with losing all your weekends, as we said. It's just the 2 minutes, the 3 minutes that you mentioned, that even passing a message, a WhatsApp message about an activity, that is your contribution. Talking to a friend while you're having your coffee at Timmy's or somewhere, that is your help. It's not hours and hours and hours of work. It's never like that. But the impact, that's how it feels. The impact,
Yes.
if it's a positive impact, you feel like they must
Yeah.
have been working hours and hours and hours. Sometimes you do, okay? But
Hmm.
in general, it's not. It shouldn't be an obstacle for people to join in. One
Yeah.
hour every month, half an hour every month. I keep saying that. That's more than enough, even.
Yeah.
Then it takes from there. Yeah.
And Brother Nabra, I'm sure even better than me because you have been heavily involved in the community. MashaAllah, very, very, very proud of what you're doing. Um, there's no feeling, human beings, we think that, we want all the money. We want all the money in the world. We want gold and we want cars. That stuff throughout history, time and time again, has never made anyone happy.
That's true.
And the craziest part is that what truly makes you happy is not getting something, but giving
Given.
something. There's no better feeling, I'm sure, for you when you finish a class and you see one of the students, he remembers an ayah or a surah in the Quran, or he remembers something and you see the brightness in their face. There's no amount of money that can replace that feeling. And
Absolutely.
that is throughout history, human beings who have collected the biggest, greatest amounts of wealth have never found their happiness. It's only when they give back to the people that they found their happiness. So that's just to make some closing statements. I think whether it's your time, whether it's your money, whether it's your effort, you have to give something back to the community. It will actually make you feel good. If not for, because you're a Muslim, if not to help another person, do it even for yourself to make yourself happy. I promise there's no better feeling than when you actually give and when you help somebody. And this is a big part of what we're all doing. With you, you are helping by sharing education. With CEYD, we are also trying to do that, and we also want to support our brothers and sisters. And if you can just give me one quick opportunity to say something before we close off, because
And I've got a few things for you
oh,
as
oh,
well.
awesome.
I'm just looking at the messages. So yeah, you
I,
start. Then I will go. Yeah, go
no,
on.
I'll save mine until the end for sure. I
Okay.
want to hear
So
what people have.
one, it's an internal reminder for you. Uh, could you shed light about this one? You can, in fact, good that they mentioned that. Could you shed light about the $1 a day campaign and the
Wow.
fundraising in Ottawa? So
Somebody
yeah,
is reading my mind. I was going to save that. Is there another
okay.
question by any chance?
That one came twice, and then. Brother Hassan Faraj, he said, thank you very much for the organizer and the host. Let us work on the weakness, and Allah gives us strength. Akita Sky, salute you for your efforts. Is there? Okay, I'm going to read. I didn't read it. Okay, so if there's
Mhm.
anything, well, you stop me. Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Is there? It's not. I mean, so it's live. So is there social and economic strategy set? How do you, as an organization, implement these strategies? People are motivated and driven. they see the big picture. Okay, so this is just about social and economic strategy set. Do you have any?
Got it.
So,
Yeah. Yeah, so our organization, we are a registered charity with the Canada Revenue Agency. And in order to be a registered charity, of course, you have to have all of these requirements met. So this includes having the mission, vision, values, the organizational structure, our policies, our code of conduct, and our guidelines. So we've done all the work really in the background to create this structure that has allowed us to be recognized by the Canadian government as a registered charity, as an organization that is trusted by even the Canadian government to collect funds and to disperse those funds to support others. So there's no way that we could get that registered charitable status without that social and economic structure that you mentioned. But just maybe a quick little thing to add on is that as a charitable organization, we are eligible actually to get funds, grants from a variety of different sources. And because we are a very fairly small organization, I will admit right now that this has actually been one of our gaps, is we have the potential to access a lot of these grants and contributions. But when it comes to the manpower to be able to actually do that and the expertise, this is something we've been lacking. So as we, of course, continue, getting funds from bigger organizations could really help to support the Sudanese school. This could help to support the orphans that we're sponsoring. This could help to fund our mentorship program and make it bigger and better than what it already is. So, just me being very transparent with your listeners, I will be very honest and say we are a charitable organization. We have the status, but we have not yet pursued that kind of more sustainable funding. And it is something that we want to do. So for anyone who's listening right now, who is, if you are a grant writer or if you have knowledge on different grants and contributions that you think would be helpful, this is me calling out to you to say, reach out to CEYD and let us know if you know of anything that we can learn from that.
We're going to be putting all details, contact and everything of CEYD down in the description on this video.
Perfect. And you mentioned Hassan Farij dropped a message in the chat. Hassan Farij is one of the leaders of ECIA, the organization I mentioned. And for anyone who's listening, actually, Hassan, if you're listening, please drop in the chat there's a form that they wanted people to sign, and this is a good opportunity for Hassan Farij to get some more contact.
Yeah, that's an idea. So I'll wait for that. What is this one, Marwan? The $1 a day campaign.
Oh, got it. Okay.
And the fundraising dinner in Ottawa, right?
Yeah. So
I got that 3 times. Okay? So if I don't ask you, I'll be in trouble. This came 3 times.
No, this is very, very important. So we have many projects I've mentioned that CEYD is supporting. This is the Ramadan food basket. So every Ramadan throughout the month, we're collecting money to provide rice, oil, and goat to people who are literally starving in refugee camps. We've seen the images and the videos. We have made sure that this food is reaching them. It is an absolutely beautiful sight. But as I mentioned earlier, these schools in Sudan that were under threat of closing, which would have left hundreds of children without education and with really no promise to ever escape the poverty that they're in. But the schools were kept open for this past 2 years strictly through the donations of the Eritreans in our community, strictly through the heart and the compassion of our brothers and sisters here in Canada, in the UK, in the US, really all over, wherever they were able to donate from. However, this funding is not sustainable. Just like the first person asked, how can we continue to donate? It is a real challenge to continuously ask our community to take money out of their pockets and to donate in a way that is not very structured, or we don't know what is going to happen down the line. So the $1 a day campaign is a way for us to say, to make it very easy and digestible for all of our Eritreans in the community to understand that to keep this school open, simply paying $30 a month, which is $1 a day, that's less than the coffee that you pay for, that is less than the bus ticket that you pay for, that is less than the McDonald's that you pay for every single day. Simply $1 a day would be enough to help sustain the school and keep it open. And overall, we're looking for 500 individuals to donate just $1 a day. This is something we're very, very proud that ECCC has kind of taken an interest in, and we will continue to talk about how we can collaborate and work together. The Eritrean Muslim Convention, this is EMC, has also showcased their interest in supporting us, as well as the Anur community in Ottawa. This is another big Eritrean organization in Ottawa. So inshallah, this is going to grow into a big collaborative effort. And we're really asking for very little, as opposed to asking people to donate, you know, $1,000 or $500. Just it's a $30 subscription. People, they're subscribed to Spotify for $20 a month. They're subscribed to YouTube and Netflix for $20 a month. Now, what if $30 a month, you're making sure that there's a kid who's being fed and clothed and taken care of? Much, much greater impact with much greater benefits, I think, for people, especially as Muslims. So on November 18th, there will be a fundraising event in Ottawa. For anybody who lives in Ottawa, please take note of this. November 18th in Ottawa.
What day is it? Of the week? Saturday?
Yeah, I believe it's a Saturday, and just to make sure, it is a Saturday. So Saturday, November 18th, there will be a fundraising event in Ottawa with a very special guest, a good friend of ours who has actually been supporting CEYD since its inception. This is Sheikh Abdallah Idris. Everyone knows and loves Brother Sheikh Abdallah Idris, a great role model in our community. And I think just one of the biggest supporters of Eritreans. He has been so close to our community since I've been a child. And I'm blessed and thankful to now know him personally one-on-one, and glad to have him joining us. But the event will be really talking about this same $1 a day campaign and how we're going to be supporting the people in the refugee camps to keep these schools open. So, and I just want to also just remind people why this is important. So as you know, Sudan right now is in a crisis. They are suffering from a civil war, and unfortunately, many people, more than 10,000 dead. Millions of Sudanese have been displaced and pushed out into areas that are not their home to find a place of refuge. Sudanese people, let us not forget as Eritreans, they were some of our greatest supporters in terms of taking in refugees and helping the Eritrean brothers and sisters who fled the war to find a place of safety without discrimination, without oppression, without any kind of hatred that refugees all around the world experience often when going to a new country. I think it is very important that as Eritreans, we remember that the Sudanese people have lent out their hand, have extended their hand to support Eritreans. And right now, as Eritrean Muslims, we have the perfect opportunity to extend our hand and support our brothers and sisters who are there in Sudan. And part of that work is through keeping this Sudanese school for refugees open. Because not only are there Eritrean refugees, but there are people who are now fleeing from the cities in Sudan into these camps. So just as a reminder to everybody, this keeping the Sudanese school for refugees open is important, not just for us as Muslims, not just as Eritreans, but as human beings who have been supported by these people. And now it is our opportunity to help again. So yeah, Jazakallah khair. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to even speak about that. And hopefully people now are a little bit aware. And if you want more information, you can visit CEYD.ca. That is our website. Once again, CEYD.ca, where you can donate directly, or you can find our contact information and reach out to us that way.
As I said, Barakallah feek, mashallah. khair, goodness is in Ummat Muhammad all the way until Yom Qiyamah. So لا يزال الخير في أمتي إلى يوم الدين. So I expect more than the 500 I expect. Inshallah, they will be pledging more than $1 a day. Inshallah.
Yeah.
So this is
Inshallah.
something.
Brother Nabrai, I know we're going to close off, but I just want to say there are some
Hmm.
very quiet heroes in the Eritrean community, and they don't want to say their names. They don't want to show their face, but I will not expose them. But I want people in the community to know what has been happening behind the scenes. We have had so far individuals and organizations. Actually, one individual has donated up to $100,000. We've had
Inshallah.
individuals who have donated 10,000 at a time, 50,000 at a time. And of course, these are people who Allah has blessed with the resources to be able to do this. Much respect to them, and God bless them for doing that. I don't expect everyone to donate $10,000. If you even donate $1, you are doing your part to help. So people out there should know that there are Eritreans right now who are giving as much money as they can to support this initiative. So hopefully everyone can keep this in mind as well.
Inshallah. Inshallah. And as I
Inshallah.
said, we'll be writing all details, your contact, your website, and everything in the description box on this video on YouTube. So all listeners, please, before you leave us, make sure you, what do they say, Marwan? What's the 3 things they say on YouTube? Or you just too young, you're Instagram guy. Yeah,
Like, comment, and subscribe.
that's the one. Yes, that's the one. Okay. So, Barakallah Feek. It was a pleasure talking to you, Marwan. Would have talked, got a lot to talk about. Inshallah, we'll have more chances to talk in person as well. Inshallah, you'll be our guest in person as well with the future activities. Bismillah. This is just a starter of great things that we can work on together, inshallah. And I have 100% believe that this is just a starter, and what's coming is brighter. I would say that, inshallah. Okay. Barakallah feek. Thank you for your time. Thank you for everyone that joined us here, and it's yours. I say you goodbye. Then you can have a couple of words if you want to say to everyone.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. It is an honor. I reiterate your words. This is the beginning of a new era, I believe, and the beginning of a new relationship between our whole community. So thank you so much. And I really want to join you guys again. We can continue this conversation. So much more to talk about.
Inshallah. We had a good time today with Brother Marwan AliBakhiet, the President of the Canadian Eritrean Youth Development. Thank you, everyone, and see you next ECCC talks, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.